Fall is finally here, and as the days get shorter and the nights get colder, there's nothing better than getting cozy on the couch and streaming a good scary movie. So grab some popcorn and a warm blanket and get ready for Black Slate Studios' top 10 scary movies on Netflix. At number 10, Poltergeist. The Freeling family lives a quiet, typical, happy suburban life. Father, mother, 3 kids and a golden retriever, until a seemingly friendly ghost comes to play. At first they're amazed and delighted by objects moving on their own, but things take a sinister turn when the activity becomes increasingly aggressive and, ultimately, their youngest daughter, Carol Ann, is taken by the entity haunting their home. Starring Craig T. Nelson and Jo Beth Williams and produced by the legendary Steven Spielberg, Poltergeist has some of the most iconic scares in movie history. From a creepy clown doll to a terrifying monstrous tree and of course Carol Ann's eerie warning, "They're here." Every moment of this supernatural horror epic is packed with chills, leading up to an absolutely unforgettable conclusion. The Poltergeist trilogy is rumoured to be cursed. 4 cast members died between 1982 and 1989, including Heather O'Rourke, who played Carol Ann, and Dominique Dunne, who played older sister Dana. Whether or not the curse is real, Poltergeist is undoubtedly one of the greatest horror movies of all time. Poltergeist was first released in 1982 and has an IMDb rating of 7.3. Number 9, The Platform. This taut Spanish thriller is set in a dystopian future world in which citizens can check themselves into a vertical puzzle box-like prison called The Hole and fight for survival in order to gain resources or improve their status in society. The star of the story, Goreng, finds himself sharing a cell with the old man, Trimagasi, who is trying to earn himself a degree and a better station in life. Trimagasi begins to reveal to Goreng the challenges of survival in the hole as, gradually, the stakes continue to rise until Goreng is forced into a fight, not only for his survival, but for his sanity as well. The Platform starts slow and steady but rises to a fever pitch of tension and terror before the viewer can get their bearings. Although the scenery doesn't change, this gory horror show will keep you on the edge of your seat, even if you do have to cover your eyes. The Platform was released in 2020 and is rated 7 on IMDb. Number 8, It Comes at Night. It Comes at Night will keep you on the edge of your seat as much with what it shows you as what it doesn't. The story follows a family who lives isolated in a boarded up cabin in the woods where they are sequestered from an unspecified plague that seems to have wiped out most of the population. Joel Edgerton plays Paul, who along with his wife Sarah, played by Carmen Ejogo, and son Travis, played by Kelvin Harrison Jr., struggle to keep their family unit strong and intact in isolation, find themselves overwhelmed when another family comes to stay. As the tension between 2 families mounts and the threat from outside seemingly draws nearer, paranoia and mistrust overtake the household, leaving the group to fight not only to survive the thing in the night, but each other as well. It Comes at Night, released in 2017 and is rated 6.2 on IMDb. It's 14A for its intense, frightening scenes. Number 7, The Invitation, 2015. For most of us, attending a dinner party with our new partner that's being hosted by an ex-spouse would be an easy pass. But this is exactly the situation Will and his girlfriend Kira walk into willingly in The Invitation. And the result is every bit as awkward, uncomfortable, and full of nameless paranoid tension as you would imagine. Logan Marshall Green and Tammy Blanchard shine as Will and Eden, a divorced couple whose marriage fell apart after the tragic death of their only child. Both in new relationships, Eden has remarried Dan, played by Michael Houseman. Part of the tension comes from being able to see the couple Will and Eden used to be, even in the presence of their new, significant others. Their grief is palpable and, awkwardness aside, it just feels like something bad is bound to happen. This film's tension and high emotion are at times uncomfortable, and the ending is one that will make you question everything you thought you'd learned along the way. A psychological horror movie at its subtle finest, The Invitation should not be missed. This film has an IMDb rating of 6.6 and was released in 2015. Number 6, Green Room 2015.
Okay, it's okay, don't worry, just get back inside. What the fuck's going on, man? Up, in the room. Okay, go!
What happens when a failing punk band witnesses a crime in a new Nazi bar they unwittingly booked a gig in? A close quarters violent fight for survival that will have you terrified and somehow laughing, all in one wild and frightening ride. Trapped in the skinhead bar while the owner, Darcy, brilliantly played by Patrick Stewart, as we're not used to seeing him, and his underlings try to eliminate the Ain't Rights as witnesses, the band bonds together to try to fight their way out alive. Seeing Patrick Stewart play a genuinely bad guy is one of the major highlights of Green Room, but Anton Yelchin, Imogen Poots and Aliyah Shaukat are all talented veterans that round out a seriously impressive cast. This movie really has it all, and it's one you won't want to miss. Green Room is rated 7 out of 10 on IMDb and was released to theatres in 2015. Number 5, Geralds Game 2017. IMDb 6.6. Geralds Game, based on a story by Stephen King, serves up terror in a whole new way right from the very start. When Jesse and Gerland Burlingame try to spice up their marriage with a couple of pairs of handcuffs, what's meant to be a romantic getaway turns into a boundless nightmare when Gerald suddenly dies, leaving his wife a prisoner, chained to the bed with his corpse. Carla Gugino is impressive as a woman who finds herself in the most impossibly horrific situation imaginable. Trapped, chained to a bed with her husband's corpse, actually on top of her at one point, and a vicious dog trying to go in. As Jessie begins to have recollections of her past and dark hallucinations begin to take over, you begin to wonder whether she will make it out alive or lose her mind first.
Oh, what the hell?
Gerald's Game has all the elements of a Stephen King scarefest with tension, urgency, and an overall creepiness that makes this one-of-a-kind horror experience for fans of all kinds. Gerald's Game, released as a Netflix original film in 2017, rated mature for severe violence and gore, it received a current IMDb rating of 6.6. Number 4, The Autopsy of Jane Doe.
Holy shit.
This supernatural horror follows a father and son coroner team played by Brian Cox as Tommy, the father, and Emil Hirsch as his son Austin, tasked by the local sheriff with performing an autopsy on the unusually well-preserved body of a young woman found at the scene of a seemingly unrelated double murder. Almost immediately, the pair begin to find strange anomalies as they examine Jane's body, and unusual occurrences begin to happen as more questions arise than are answered. The Autopsy of Jane Doe is just downright eerie from the first scene to the last. The coroner's office and autopsy room are in the dark, carpeted basement of a creepy funeral home, and between the office cat, a visit from Austin's girlfriend, and all the creaks and groans one comes to expect from an old, worn-down funeral home on a stormy night, the movie strikes just the right balance of intrigue and jump scares to keep the audience on their toes. If you're looking for ambience, chills, and a good mystery rolled together, The Autopsy of Jane Doe is a unique and genuinely scary flick for you. It was originally released in 2016 and currently holds an IMDb rating of 6.8. Number 3, As Above, So Below. No list of horror films would be complete without a found footage flick, and As Above, So Below is one of the best there is. It follows archaeologist Scarlett leading a crew of explorers beneath the streets of Paris to film what they discover in the catacombs below the City of Lights. Using a riddle they found at Nicholas Flamel's grave, they are guided to the Philosopher's Stone and taken on a hellish journey they could never have imagined. This film takes advantage of the dark and twisting underground paths where the group are carefully picking their way through encounters with personal spectres, nightmare ghoulish embodiments of sins past, and the terrifying possibility that there may be no escape for them at all. The setting is perfect for horror, but it's the surprising themes that emerge that make As Above, So Below such a satisfying exploration of fear. As the audience discovers the nightmarish truth along with the team of explorers, each reveal is more intense than the last, building to a crescendo of fear that leaves the audience shocked at this tale's ultimate and frightening end. As Above, So Below is rated R for its frightening and intense scenes and is rated 6.2 on IMDb. Number 2, 1922. Stephen King brings us something completely different than his last entry on this list with the Netflix original 1922. Wilfred, played by Thomas Jane, and his wife Arlette, played by Molly Parker, live on the farm they inherited from Arlette's father when he passed away. While Wilfred feels particularly connected to working the land, Arlette decides she's ready to sell and move to the city. Because the land is in her name, Wilfred isn't given a choice, and Arlette plans to set the wheels in motion and sell the farm right away. Refusing to be literally uprooted, Wilfred concocts a plan to murder Arlette with their son Henry, played by Dylan Schmidt. The deed gets done, but when it comes time to bury the body, there's a change of plans. Soon after, Wilfred finds himself alone on the farm after Arlette is dead, and Henry runs away, with his girlfriend haunted by what he's done and perhaps actually haunted by the ghost of his murdered wife. 1922 is the type of period piece that King excels at writing, in the vein of The Green Mile and Shawshank Redemption, but this is horror story through and through. Wilfred is forced to face his demons all alone. The violence of what he has done is always with him, and the ghosts of his past are none too kind. From a simple desire to hold on to his beloved farm and the vague resentment of being emasculated by his wife's financial hold of him, Wilfred's life spins out into a supernatural vortex that forces him to face who he really was and who he's allowed himself to become. 1922, released as a Netflix original film, received an IMDb community rating of 6.3. Number 1, The Silence of the Lambs. The Silence of the Lambs was the third film of all time to win all of the top 5 Academy Awards and the first horror film to ever be nominated for Best Picture. With an all-star cast led by Jodie Foster and Sir Anthony Hopkins, this masterpiece is absolutely perfect in every component. Special Agent Clarice Starling is working her way up as an FBI trainee when she is given temporary credentials to take on a special assignment, interviewing Dr. Hannibal Lecter, a psychiatrist, psychopath and convicted cannibal, about one of his former patients who is a suspected active serial killer. The story of The Silence of the Lambs, based on the novel by Thomas Harris, is paced perfectly to give the audience seemingly endless moments of intense chemistry between Foster, the fledgling eager-to-please agent, and Hopkins, the brilliant, manipulative monster. At the same time, action sequences spread throughout the story snap us back to reality and keep us guessing about the mystery at hand. This is another movie with too many iconic lines and moments to name, but suffice it to say, there is a reason it's a classic, and one that horror fans return to again and again. The film has a rating of R for its severe violence and gore. It has an audience rating of 8.6 on IMDb. We hope you've enjoyed this list. Let us know what your favourites are and stay tuned for more top 10s from Black Slate Studio.